Mark, good to see you again. I'll start with any team news that you may have going into Saturday. How are you fixed up those ones?
Yeah, we've got a few that won't be involved. Tilagi's just got a slight strain on his right-hand side. So that's likely it's not too bad, thankfully. So it should be just maybe a week to 10 days. Rom has got a bleed in his eye, probably with a little bit of concussion or sight disturbance, so we can't train him this week until obviously the eye specialist is happy that it's not going to re-bleed, so we've got to be careful with him. So those two are not available. Apart from that, I think pretty much we're okay from the weekend.
In terms of Tilagi's absence and the area of the field that he covers, is it a case of Liam being fit enough to come straight back in if called?
Yeah, right. Is fitting well. Been training really, really well. Have no qualms about putting Wright straight back in. Speaking as players, we know started the season in the team as well. So it's only game time he's been missing. He's been fit for quite some time. So yeah, no, I've got a problem with Wright coming back in. He'll look forward to it. He's bided his time. He's, as I said, been fit for a number of weeks now, and now an opportunity's presented itself. So I'm sure he'll look to grab it.
How is he in himself? It's been a long while since he last played.
Yeah, well, we've had these conversations about Wright on a few occasions. He just got very, very close. He had a couple of injuries, got very close to returning, and just had a setback right at the end of the rehab on a couple of occasions. So it's really frustrating for him and for us. But like I said, he's been training well for a number of weeks now. Hasn't had any touchwood recurrence. So he's sound at the moment. So that's a good thing, obviously, because he needs to come in and hit the ground running.
Similar question in terms of obviously Romany's absence. You've got options
Yeah.
in that area. I mean, Sam has obviously come in. Timmy's available,
Yeah.
Kieran as well. So, have you got a clear?
Yeah. I'm happy with the depth we've got. It's we let the likes of Jan Song go and Mighty Falls, but that was because we knew we had strength in depth. So we've, I said, a couple of injuries in the back four, but got more than capable guys to come in and do the job that's required. So I'm happy enough with that.
Is it a case of bringing one of those three in that's as like for like as Romany in terms of how Romany plays and what he brings to the team?
Well, they're all good football players anyway. So Rom gives us something in terms of his calmness on the ball, but they're all good players. As I said, whoever comes in will be expected to do the job that's required, and I've got trust in each and every one, and whoever I decide to play will do the job, I'm sure.
Of course, I'm asking those questions on the presumption that you're going to stick with the back four. I mean, you've said before you're open to tactically changing if and when.
Yeah, we can do. Like I said, we've got options to go a number of ways. We're playing a team of a certain type who approach the game in a certain way, so that will be factored into my thinking. But you've still got to try and impose your way of playing on the opposition. So we always endeavour to try and do that. Somebody's on the roof, I think. But yeah, we will, obviously. They're very adept at what they do, so we have to legislate for that as well. So we'll see. I've got good options. I've got time to really nail it down tomorrow and make it clear which way we're going to go.
In terms of your tactical approach, and I know you're not going to give away how you're going to set up, but how realistic will it be for you to play your way against a team that have been very direct and physical in their way, particularly at home?
Well, you just got to be brave enough and trust the way you play and the guys that are in the positions that are key to making it happen. So there's a little bit of a setback, clearly, because we've lost guys that have been playing on a regular basis, like Rom, clearly. So that's a miss in terms of what we want to do. But I still think we've got the capability if we go that way. And yeah, I think looking back at a number of their games, I saw the game against Orient, and Orient conceded by going toe to toe with them really, and conceded two goals in quick succession before they even attempted to play. And they probably look back on that and think that was a wrong decision. So we won't go too far away from what we do. We feel we're better served going that way. I think you've heard me talk many times about controlling the game. You have to have the ball to be able to have that control. If you don't, then games start to go away from you. So that's what we'll endeavour to do.
You've shown that you can do that away from home this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we did that in the home game against Stevenage, obviously to good effect. Dealt with, obviously, the physical side of their game. Notwithstanding the good players as well. But we stood up to that, played our stuff, and were able to get goals at good times and took the game away from them. So let's see if we can do it again. That would be the challenge.
They've been very strong at home this season. They've got the best home record in the division.
Yeah.
Is a point a good point on the road there, or can you afford to take just a point?
It is a good point, I think, in isolation, but clearly we would like to get back to winning ways. We've had difficult fixtures. It's another one, obviously, the weekend, but we've obviously gone to Stockport, another team who will test you physically. We stood up to that challenge. Mansfield at the weekend had a real go at us and are always strong in this league, so could very easily have been a game we won. So yeah, the fixtures at the moment are there and they're testing us, but we're looking forward to the weekend. It's the type of game that you're going to have to get something out if you're going to make sure that you're challenging at the end.
It's these kind of games, these tough games that make or break your season, define how well or successful you are in a season.
Well, they can help or hinder, I think. I wouldn't say break, but it's important that we get the maximum that we're able to get out of these games. I think that's a given. We've got more than enough ability to do that against anybody in this league. We've never gone away from that. We just got to make sure that we play at our level, at a good enough level to affect the opposition, and that's what we try and do in every game. We've got to make sure that we go from start to finish. Despite obviously to concede such a late goal, but that can happen. I mean, they got an opportunity right at the end, and two pieces of skill. A little ball that they just knocked forward. He went perfectly into his stride, and the lad produced a decent ball to the far post where they had an overload. So I don't think we did a great deal wrong in that moment. But unfortunately, yeah, we conceded right at the end, as we know. So overall, I thought the performance on the day against Mansfield was really strong, and we'll have to replicate that. It's important we do, because we're up against another good side at this level. So let's see how we do.
What's the messaging to the players, particularly after disappointment that will have been felt on Saturday?
I think we've got to be brave enough to play. I think when we go away from what we do, sometimes we've been guilty of that. Maybe in second half of games where we've got involved in a game that's more direct, and I don't think that helps us. I think we create more if we play our way, and we concede less opportunities when we play our way. So we've got to persevere with it. I think the balance is the key, and we have gone more direct than certainly we were at the beginning of the season. So we have changed, and I think we needed to. But it's just when we get the balance slightly awry, where we go a little bit too direct as in comparison to playing. If we get the balance right, then we're able to cause opposition problems. So we've got to make sure that balance is there.
I guess it comes back to that word brave that you used at the start. Is this then a case of sticking with your game plan and not being led by how the opposition are wanting you to play? Yeah,
because you can easily get into a game that the opposition want to play that arguably you're not as efficient at, because that's what they do week in, week out. That's what they train. We don't train to play that way. So why would we attempt to go up against a team that arguably is one of the best in the league at doing that? So we've got to be brave enough to play, but we've got to have a recognition and an understanding that we have to pick the right moment and make good decisions. If we get our decisions right and play when we can and clear our lines when we have to, then we'll be fine.
Is that a trend you've seen a lot in games, not just in Mansfield, but throughout the season, or certainly of late, from your perspective?
What trend? That
in the second half, playing the way that they want you to play?
There's a little bit of a trend where we possibly... There's key periods in games, obviously beginning of the game, either side of the half-time period in the last 10 minutes or so. You can, obviously you come out after the half-time break and that 10-minute period, you know, certainly if you're in the lead like we were at the weekend, teams are going to come out and have a real go. So you've got to match that, and sometimes being a little bit more direct in that period helps just take the sting out of the game. But the key is not to allow that period to last too long, because then it disrupts your own way of playing. So certainly our first half of performance was good. We have to recognise there will be a reaction from opposition. We just got to maybe ride that initial period out and still play our stuff. That's got us into a winning position in first halves.
I asked that question about a trend in the sense that, do you think it's an area that opposition sides have noticed about you? Is that a target area for them?
What, trying to get back in games when they're losing at half time? Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Playing that way, or trying to make you play the way that...
All right. Well, I think a lot of the teams that we face play that way anyway. And yeah, if they can make it a game that's a game of many transitions and it's back and flow and they play the percentages, yeah, sometimes that can affect us. But that's the point I made right at the beginning, is that we've got to be brave enough to play and be strong enough to know that if we get it right, then we cut through teams and we're right at their back four with the opportunity to put balls into the box with better quality and with better opportunities. So that's what we always endeavour to do.
Is Richie back available for you?
Richie's back available, yeah, he's back, trained all week. Touch wood, don't anticipate there being any problems tomorrow, so yeah, he's fit and available.
So much of what was good in your performance on Saturday came through that midfield dynamic and balance that you had, particularly in the first half, as you've outlined. Does it give you a headache a bit, given that Richie...
Yeah, I've got a lot of good players. Even in training, sometimes you guys just have to bide the time and wait in terms of the numbers, just make sure that the session works. So I think they understand that and recognise that's the way it needs to be. But the options I've got, certainly at the top end of the pitch, are many and varied. So I'm pleased about that. Yeah, come weekend, I do disappoint any number of players, but I think because of the type of opposition we go up against, almost every week it's a different challenge, different type of problem we have to solve, and sometimes different personnel are the right way to go. So they know there's opportunities. I think what's happened since the window's closed, everybody knows this is where we are. These are the guys that will be working, and there's no ambiguity. They're not thinking, well, maybe I need to go out. The guys are with us, and I think that focuses everybody's mind.
And just on that point, actually, we spoke to Ryan East before yourself, and obviously he's had limited game time, called upon. He said 1 o'clock he got the call to play on Saturday. He said that he didn't think about leaving in January, that it was a case of just biding out his time, doing the right things that he can do to show you what he can do.
Yeah, Ryan, credit to him, has been really professional is the word I'm looking for. I just think he just gets on with his business. He's not one that will come and knock on my door. He'll just keep on training correctly, making himself available. And I noticed that. Sometimes guys won't be quite as engaged in what we do, and that's understandable if they haven't had game time. But you can never level that at Eastie. I think he's been excellent, and he deserved to play. There may be games that he's not suited to, and he'll have to bide his time again. But that's, like I said, it's sometimes it's horses for courses. But he's a good player. Everybody saw, and I think it's credit to him. And I've said before, if people don't train correctly or look after themselves, and when they do get opportunity late, 1 o'clock before the game, when you're not expecting it, you still are able to contribute. And I thought he was excellent on the day. So it's credit to him.
So when there is competition for players, which evidently there is in this squad, he set the example of how to be.
That's how you have to be. Yeah, you've got to bide your time. If you mope around and you're not happy with your situation, then not training well isn't going to get you back in my team. You just got to get your head down, be professional, and get on with it and wait for the opportunity. Things open up very quickly. I mean, it can be injury, unfortunately, this weekend. That will allow somebody else to play. Other times I'll make a decision in terms of which way we're going and tactically what I feel is required, and that will open a door for somebody that maybe hasn't been in the fold. So you've always got to be ready. That's the key message.
Best luck Saturday, Mark.
Thanks, mate.
Obviously, with a team like Stevenage, a lot is made of how they play. As you said, you can't get sucked into changing your game for that. But how do you balance the training with? You have to change some ways because of the way they attack a team.
Well, I think you just prepare in similar ways. You just highlight the areas of strength, areas of weaknesses, and we do that irrespective of who we're playing every week, going up against different opposition with different aims and different ways of getting to where they feel they need to be. So we prepare like that. Stevenage clearly have a certain way of playing, and we'll look at things that maybe give them triggers in terms of what they do on a repetitive cycle, the things they try and create to enable them to get the ball in good areas. So it's about just knowing your opposition and recognising the strengths and what we can do to maybe irritate them and cause them a problem. So as always, it's about us trying to impose ourselves on a very good team rather than them being able to do it to us. The thing with direct play is that sometimes it's difficult to affect the outcome of a ball into your box because it's bypassing so many players. So that's why it can be effective at this level, because it's difficult to stop percentage balls into your box. But there's things you can do. You make sure that you get good numbers of where the ball's going to land, and you anticipate things. You don't react to things, because if you react, more often than not, you'll be too late. So it's just reminding the guys about that, and maybe recreating things that they'll be exposed to at the weekend.
And as you said, players are going to get injured, but with the number of games coming up as well, presumably you're going to have to rotate the squad anyway. So people are going to get game time.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, we got a good squad, good depth through the squad. We've always had that all year, and the squad knows that it's going to be together now. So the focus is really strong, I feel, in the group now. We've changed the dynamic a little bit with the new guys coming in. I think that's helped as well. And yeah, we're going Saturday, Tuesday on a number of weeks coming up. We'll have breaks here and there, but for the most part, we'll be playing a lot of games. So everybody has to be ready to go and ready to contribute. The dynamic, as I said, in the group is really strong at the moment. It's really upbeat, and I think that will help us. We'll stick together.
And presumably that dynamic has changed a bit off the pitch as well, because there's new voices, new people there.
Yeah, we brought guys in that are more vocal, I think. Certainly Adam Clayton ticks all those boxes in terms of the way he leads, not only by example, but vocally as well. I think other guys have stepped up as well. Alex Gillard, who I thought was excellent on the weekend, has really grasped the leadership part of it. Has always been a voice in the dressing room, but now has become more of a leader as well. And Stubbsy will bring more of that as well. In the short time he's been here, he's clearly a guy who can play his own game, but can drive other people around him as well. So we all feel that the leadership element of the group has improved markedly.
Yes.
Mark, you spoke about the physical challenge coming up this weekend. I mean, do you sort of sense the defenders are sort of rubbing their hands together because they know this is their moment, because this is the big challenge?
Yeah, quite possibly. I wouldn't want them to be afraid of what's ahead of them. I think if you've got anything about you should be relishing the challenge. It will test them physically, it will test them mentally, because the door will constantly knocked upon, if so to speak. They will put balls into good areas, and we'll have to defend them, and defend them resolutely if we can. But I've got good defenders, guys that'll put their head on the ball, and when we've got the opportunities, we'll look to play as well. So yeah, it's a challenge, but every game in this league and at this level is a challenge. Some are different from others, but this is one that in recent weeks, we've shown we can step up and face. So more of the same, hopefully.
Obviously, you kept a clean sheet when you beat them up here, and I think they only failed to score once at home. So again, that'll be some feather in the cap. If we keep that door shut.
Yeah, clearly, if we can keep a clean sheet, then we always feel that at some point we'll get a good chance and create a good chance at the other end. So first and foremost, we've got to make sure that we're resolute defensively. If we can be that and frustrate them up to a point, then maybe they will make mistakes key times in the game, and we can capitalise on that.
Obviously, as we said, how well the back four's been playing, in particular the last few games, how tight it's been keeping. Obviously, losing two of those.
Yeah,
scores.
it's a blow. It is a blow, because we're making changes to an area of the team that's been settled and has played together for a number of games predominantly. Obviously, Talaji's just come in lately, but done really well. So it is a blow, but I think the quality that we've got to come in will compensate for that, and we've got more than enough to deal with what Stevenage can throw at us, we feel.
And obviously, I think the management team at Stevenage are quite combustible. I think on the touchline, I think it's probably the word. I mean, do you sort of enjoy these occasions where there's possibly a little bit going on around the game as much as in the game?
I've been known to get involved in certain things on the touchline. I'm not anticipating that to happen at the weekend, but I never know when it does just blow up. But no, I thought Stevenage bench last time around were fine. Didn't really engage with them too much. Had other games against other benches where it's been a lot more fiery, so I'm not anticipating anything.